Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. It's our Sabbath class, the 19th of March, 2022. We're going to be dealing with Deuteronomy. I'm starting at chapter 10 today for our Sabbath class, the reading of our Sabbath class. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody to like, share, and subscribe to the Prophets of Awakening channel. Hit the notification button if you can. And this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And we deal with the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Tanakh that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. This is a non-Messianic, this is I want to say shalom and welcome everyone, the Prophets of Awakening channel. And I want to say welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, Psalms, current events, and a little need to know information. Then we'll go into Q&A, and then we'll go into the lesson. Okay, with that being said, our moment of silence is in regards to the Lord of Hosts and all that they're doing to bring about our deliverance in these last days. Okay. We're just showing reference to our Redeemer and our Savior. Okay. Oh Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God. We make our confessions, O Lord. The great and dreadful God, keep me covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil has come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, in the Caribbean, in Great Britain, and America. O Lord, according to the righteousness, I beseech thee, let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem and thy people and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for thy sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do and defer not for thine own sake, O my Lord, for thy people in your land need you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay?
Yes, Lord. Hallelujah.
So with that, we're going to read this Psalms. Okay? Get the Psalms out here right quick. Okay, I'm going to read Psalm 74. It's a complaint born of faith. And it's from Asaph, one of David's chief singers in the temple. Okay, O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why doeth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed. This Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy face unto thy perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy have done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thy enemies roar in the midst of thy congregations. They set up their ensigns for signs. A man was famous according as he had lifted up the axe upon thick trees. But now they break down the carved work thereof at once with axes and hammers. They have cast fire into my sanctuary. They have defiled by casting down the dwelling place of thy name to the ground. They said in their hearts, let us destroy them together. They have buried up all the synagogues of God in the land. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet, neither is there any among us, no more, neither is there any of us. Okay, let me read this right. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophet, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long, O Lord, how long shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever? Why withdrawest thou thy hand, even thy right hand? Pluck it out of thy bosom. For God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragon in the waters. Thou breakest the heads of the Leviathan in pieces, and giveth him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou didst cleave the fountains of the flood. Thou dried up many rivers. The day is thine, the night also is thine. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun. Thou hast set all the borders of the earth. Thou hast made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy have reproached, O Lord, and that the foolish people have blasphemed thy name. O deliver not the soul of thy turtle dove unto the multitude of the wicked. Forget not the congregation of thy poor forever. Have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitation of cruelty. O let not the oppressed return ashamed, and let the poor and needy praise thy name. Arise, O God, plead thine own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproacheth thee daily. Forget not the voice of thine enemies, the tumult of those that rise up against thee, increase continuously. Okay, so that was Psalm 74, a complaint born of faith. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, let me get this one. I saw something earlier when I was reading. It says, okay, it says, lift up thy feet. Verse 3, lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy have done wickedly in thy sanctuary. Right? Okay, go to verse 2. Remember the congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this mount wherein thou dwellest. So I was in our previous videos, I went to Isaiah chapter 8, verse 18. I'm gonna read that right quick. Okay. Like I said, I'm forever trying to plead my case in the fact that who the Lord of hosts is and who our Redeemer is. Isaiah chapter 8. Okay, okay. In verse 18, 8. Chapter 8, verse 18. And it says, okay. Isaiah is praying to the Most High. Most High gave him 3 sons, and those 3 sons are signs and wonders in Israel. So Isaiah says in verse 8 and 18, chapter 8, verse 18 says, behold, I and the children whom the Lord have given me for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth at Mount Zion. See that? So 2 things. This Lord of hosts, he dwells at Mount Zion. He don't dwell in heaven. You got to understand that. And then not only that, he's the one that's bring forth the children. He controlling the women's wombs. He opening and closing the women's wombs up according to what's going on. So he tells them right here, he says, and like I said, to get these, the reason why I take the time out to give you these understandings, so that when you read, this is going to come back to your remembrance. That's how the Most High works. So he says, behold, Isaiah 8 and 18, behold, Isaiah talking, I, Isaiah, and my children, whom the Lord have given me for signs and wonders in Israel. Who is this Lord? From the Lord of hosts. This ain't Yahweh, which dwelleth at Mount Zion. He dwelled at Mount Zion. So if you understand what's happening back at the Tower of Babel, the earth was divided up by these 70 angels. The Most High divided the earth up, and he gave them different plots of land. So Michael, the archangel, Most High right hand man on his right hand side, was given Mount Zion, right? Mount Zion, mountain. These angels dwell on mountains. That's why they work these heathens going up in the land of Canaan in these high places to worship these angels on these mountains. So Moses went. Ran out of Egypt. He ended up on a mountain where this angel was at, Lord of hosts, and he charged him to go back and deliver his people that was given to him back in the day by the Lord of hosts, by the Yahweh, gave it to him. He inherited Israel. So you'll go back to the Psalm 74 right quick. Shine a light on this. So as with the understanding I just gave you, Asaph had the same understanding in Psalm 74, verse 2. Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased. See that? He purchased it of old. He got this from Yahweh. See that? So, purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, inherited it. Yahweh, can't nobody give Yahweh nothing. So, the rod of thy inheritance, which thou hast redeemed. They're going to redeem it. This Mount Zion, where thou hast dwelt. There it is again. Whole nother understanding of Christianity. So there it is right there.
Right, right. And it's like ASAP is, he's asking God to remember, his inheritance that
Right,
he was
right.
given. Yeah. Oh
Exactly.
wow. Okay.
Okay. So
Mm.
that's what I'm saying about. That's why in Ezekiel 37 they got to be resurrected because
Right,
we've been hoodwinked. Our understanding, our culture been snapped from us. So we
right.
got to resurrect our forefathers in Ezekiel 37. Let me read that. And Isaiah tells you that. Let me go to Isaiah again right here in verse 66. 66. So like I said before, when you understand how it works, you ain't no, if you're hearing this, it ain't no coincidence. It's hammer time. So, I'm in Isaiah 66. And he tells you right here, and starting at verse 5, hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word, your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord of hosts, be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy. Okay, so it's Lord of hosts appeared to Abraham. So this ain't Yahweh. So he says, the voice of the noise from the city, for a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that rendered recompense to his enemy. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pains came, she was delivered of a man child. So who is the woman and who is his man child? The woman is Israel. That's who the Lord of hosts married. Israel and the Israelites that's in the land. Every time one of them died, they was buried. They was placed back in the earth, back in the earth. That's where they got. That's where he got it from when he formed Adam. He got it from the woman. He buried her. I mean, he took some dirt, soil from the woman and made Adam. The earth is the mother. So 8 says, who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such a thing? Shall the earth, they go to earth, that's the woman right there. Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? So bring forth what? All her children that been placed in her, that died. Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion, that's what the Lord of hosts dwells in. Zion travaileth, she brought forth her children. Right? See that? Shall I bring the birth and not to bring forth, said the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, said the Lord? Rejoice with Jerusalem and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her and all that mourn for her. that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breast of our consolation. This breast of our consolation is all our forefathers that we've been reading about. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of them. He resurrected, they studying that. So he says, rejoice with the breast of her consolation, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her joy. So I talked about this last night, I think, or last night. But anyway, so they all there. Now they get the proper understanding of what's going on, because they wasn't same way they died with the knowledge of the Most High, they resurrected with the knowledge of the Most High. So that's when everything gets straightened out. That's the purpose of, like I said before, that's the purpose of Elijah. So, like he said, can he, because he's gonna bring him to like the baby when he started coming out, the head comes to the front of the womb. So he's gonna bring the head around to the front of the womb, but don't bring the baby out. He said, no, you're gonna bring when it's time for the baby to come out, you're gonna bring it out. That's what we at right now. It's travailing, the woman travailing. It's hammer time. So, like I said before, it's no coincidence that the truth is coming out. So it's all working as planned, like the Most High said. Okay. So, like I was saying, over in Psalms, we'll get back over there. I'm not finished with that. Psalms 74 says, let me get it. Yeah, I had read Psalm 74 and 2, and I broke that down. It says, remember the congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion wherein thou hast dwelt. So he reminding them of what Isaiah just told us, that you do well on Mount Zion. The Most High gave you us to rule over us. So remember that. So you say, what you talking about? Go one more place. You gotta find it. Yeah, this is important. So we said, okay. Give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I saw where he said he also said remember the covenant, but I don't see it. It says deliver not thy soul, the children those into the multitude, respecting. Yeah, here you go, 20, verse 20. So this is we're gonna break this down. 20 says have ASAP, this ASAP. A lot of people don't even know what the hell ASAP is, but ASAP says, I have respect unto the covenant. See, he talking to the Lord of hosts. Have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. So what he talking about when he telling them have respect to the covenant? So let's go back. That's the same as you go get a car and you sign the paperwork to pay your notes every month. When the time first of the month comes around, you got to respect what you signed, and you got to go make the payment on the car until you pay it off. Well, let's go back and see when they made this covenant. I mean, Judges chapter 2. Okay, we're gonna beat this in the ground. chapter 2, the chapter says, and the angel, see that? It's the angel. Yahweh ain't there, and Jesus ain't there. It says, and the angel of the Lord came up on Gilead from Beckham and said, I made you to go up out of Egypt, and I have brought you into the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. See that? This angel, Lord of hosts, Michael got the covenant with Israel. He's the El, the strong one over Israel. So he just told you right here in Judges, precept upon precept, that I got a covenant. I'm the one with the covenant. So Asaph reminding him over here in verse 20, I have respect unto the covenant. See that? He reminding him. He ain't talking to Yahweh. He damn sure ain't talking to Jesus. So he says, I have respect unto the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitation of the crude. Okay? Any comments before we move on?
And we can also, rely, on God's covenant's promise.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And what's happening right here today is you being redirected and lined up because of how you gonna deal with somebody when you void of the understanding of what's going on. How you gonna deal with? I mean, how can Asaph talk to him that way if he don't know that he the one that got the covenant? That's like praying. How you gonna you all praying off to the wrong place and to the wrong person? You're not understanding who it is that you're supposed to be praying to. It's like I just said with the getting a contract. You got a contract. How you gonna deal with the contract? I mean, how your cousin, or your nephew gonna deal with a contract that you signed? Your cousin and nephew don't know damn thing about the contract. So Asaph can say that because he part of the contract and he know about the contract. He understands who it is that's dealing with him. And so, like I said before, when you understand that over and over again, even David, they constantly charging him. Let's read. Let me read this right quick. Just read. So this back to the Messiah right here. I'm in Psalms 132. 132. Okay, let me get it. Psalms 132. All right, so it says a prayer for blessings on the sanctuary. This is David's prayer. David the Messiah. We're gonna start fumbling with it. See, so David the Messiah, not JC. So it says, Lord, remember David. See that? Asaph just told him, remember the covenant. So he just said, Lord, remember David and all his afflictions, how he swore unto the Lord and vowed unto the mighty God of Jacob. Surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house, nor go up into the bed. I will not give sleep into mine eyes, or slumber to mine eyelids, until I find out a place for my Lord, a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. And lo, we have heard of it in Ephrata, and we found it in the fields of the woods. We will go into the tabernacle. We will worship at his footstool. See that? Footstool, right? I don't know if you remember the verse or you can relate to it, but it says God is in heaven and his footstool. His footstool is in Zion. That's the Lord of hosts. Lord of hosts is in Zion. Yahweh is in heaven. It says heaven is his Yahweh's dwelling place and his footstool. Footstool is Zion. And Lord of hosts is right hand man. He's the one in Zion. That's why he was given Zion. That's why he was given that region. So anyway, it says 7. We will go into the tabernacle, we will worship at his footstool. Arise, O Lord, in thy rest, thou in the ark of thy strength. Let thy priests be clothed with righteousness, and let thy saints shout for joy, right? For thy servant David's sake. See that? He's charging him because he understands the covenant. See, you can't charge him, you can't charge a person, you don't understand what's going on. You can't deal with somebody on a contract that ain't under your contract. So he says, for thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thine anointed. See, telling you who the anointed is. Messiah means anointed. David is the anointed one. And he charging him because he understands that. So 11, the Lord hath sworn in truth to David. He don't say Jesus. He don't say Yahushua. He says, for the Lord hath sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. So let's look at that. So you're gonna say, well, Jesus came out of his loins. Jesus, the son of David. Well, he just told you right there, out of David the Messiah, and everything out of David's lineage, he gonna acknowledge. So, but he ain't. But some one of these boys that coming out of his loins ain't none of his Messiah. Ain't none of the Messiah. David the Messiah. He says, uh,
Right.
11. The Lord I sworn unto the truth under David. That's the Messiah. He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. Y'all, David is the Messiah. And seeds coming out of him. Ain't no seed gonna come out of the Messiah and be the Messiah. Messiah is where the seed's coming from. Come on. It says 12. If thy children will keep my see that? If thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony that I shall teach them, their their children shall also set upon thy throne. See that? It's his throne. So now just go back and look at the concept and the ideology of the New Testament. JC gonna come. If he the King of Kings, he gonna sit on David's throne. Where the hell David gonna sit at? Most I just told him he gonna put him on his throne. So
Exactly.
13. For the Lord have chosen Zion. He have desired it for his habitation. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell. See that? Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. I will abundantly bless her. They go to the woman in Isaiah 53, her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. I will also clothe her priest with salvation, and her saints shall shout aloud with joy. So let's look at that, man. So it says, this is my rest forever. The Lord hosts talking. My rest, where's this rest at? Zion, right? And I desire it, right? Then 15, I will abundantly bless her. That's the woman. They go the man and the woman right here, right? The husband and the wife. Says, I will abundantly bless her provision. I will satisfy her poor. Who is the poor? Us that we've been denigrated with the curses. We the poor of the earth.
Yes,
So he
indeed.
says, I will satisfy her poor with bread, and I will clothe her priest. See that? This the woman, the wife, the mama, the priest, with salvation, and her saints. Who the saints is? They in the ground. He's gonna resurrect them in Ezekiel 37. There it is, all of it right there. So 30. Now we're gonna get to this Messiah thing again. 17. There will I make the horn of David, not JC, the horn of David to bud. So if I got some collard greens and I put the seeds in the ground, then they're gonna bud. So David was buried in the ground, right? There will I make the horn of David bud. See that? So you're gonna resurrect David. That's what they're saying, telling you. There will I make the horn of David the bud. I have ordained a lamp, a soul, a body for my anointed, the Messiah. His enemies, the Messiah, his David. His enemies will I clothe in shame, but upon himself, that's the point I wanted to make. See that? Upon himself shall his crown flourish. So what are you talking about? Back to verse 11. The Lord hath sworn unto David, he will not turn from it, of the fruit of his body shall he set upon his throne. So I told David, your lineage is gonna keep going on, but in the very end, I'm gonna put you back on your own throne. I'm gonna cause you be resurrected. Bud. Okay. So like I said before, these men talking in a whole nother language than we talking today, because we've been interjected with this JC character and these bogus ass scriptures in the New Testament. So we got to shake that off. So with that being said, any comments on anything I said before we move on?
Yes, the way that you explained all of that, and having that understanding and knowing who our Lord is in this dangerous, cruel world, we know we're gonna be all right. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
his covenant promise. And when you understand that we were given to him for an inheritance, I mean, wow.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hard.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Yes.
I was just looking at how, you know, like you were saying, they were always trying to denigrate David and say things, he did this and he did that and kill Uriah. Then he,
Right.
the whole thing with Bathsheba. But David had to um pay for those sins. The Lord, chastised him too, just like he's chastising us. So it's a great example that he still, you can see the love that he has for David, even though David was, not perfect, but David was always seeking the Lord, and he turned that around. He didn't.
Yes.
He respected the Lord, and though he made his mistakes. So like with us, we're being punished for our sins, or not following the law, and he is still telling us what he's going to give us, like he's telling David. So David's kind of like an example that, okay, the Lord is you're gonna have to pay for what you've done and how you've disrespected his laws and him, but he still has um love for you, and that he's still going to, just listening to all the stuff that he's gonna, just how he, places David in that responsibility of
Right.
being he's saying he shall, his crown shall flourish. So he's still blessing David,
Right. Exactly.
So
Yes.
Everything he's doing is according to David, and
Mhm.
he's like he said, he have a covenant. He got a covenant with Aaron, he got a covenant with David, and he got a covenant with Israel. So he got, he multitasking. But how you gonna understand that if you don't understand who it is that's got the covenant, who it is that's honoring the covenant? That's got to be laid out for you to understand it, before you even try to deal with it. And so when you read that, you like what I just read, you read over it because you are already thinking that you already went to the New Testament thinking we already got a Redeemer and Messiah. So you ain't looking at it from that perspective when you read that. So all this other information, bogus information, been injected in your mind, and you can't see none of this.
exactly.
That's what the problem is. So yeah.
Right. Right. And even though, David made mistakes and he did what he did, like I said last night, he didn't veer away from the Lord of hosts. He did not do that, and he did not make any excuses for his
Hmm.
sins.
Right.
Now we know who the Lord of hosts is, and we sinning and we veering away from him. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna work.
Right.
It's not gonna work.
Right.
I don't know what you're gonna do with JC, but you got to pack him up, and send him somewhere.
Right.
Right. And I
Right.
was
I just.
looking at that. I was
You
looking
can't.
at that.
Right.
I was looking at that too. How that. So his number one thing is that he had a problem with, and how our forefathers, the prophets, and all of them got off track was they stopped respecting him, which they lost that fear factor. They lost that, right? So we come to the day, and you look at. I don't know if anybody familiar with the lady that's swimming. She a transgender woman.
No, I'm
Anybody know
not.
about that? Yeah, she won. They won two events. I think it was Friday night and last night. Saturday, Thursday night. She won two events, and it's a big old uproar because at one time he was on the men's swimming team, and he was having all these issues with his body, and
That's
so
not fair for a male.
exactly, exactly.
Mm.
So now he didn't went from swimming with the men. Now he got this surgery and all this, and now he's swimming with the women. But you can look at the dude and see you can see it's a dude. So what I'm saying is that you disrespecting the Most High
Yes,
Yeah.
and
indeed.
all those because
Yeah.
you like, oh man, look at the dude. He's the dude. And so they did the whole women's swimming world all this other uproar. But like I said before, we see right here in the Old Testament where the foundation was laid at. Now with this society that created now, we can't deal with the Old Testament like we're supposed to because you're trying to respect all this over here. See what I'm saying? Like I said, the Most High told Saul to go and kill all the Amalekites. Why? Why he told him to kill the Amalekites? They was offshoots because of where they came from. That's what that is. I mean, most I don't create no half man, half woman. Don't know who the hell they is. You gotta take them to the hospital and dissect them and all that. That's something that came from what happened with these angels that Enoch tells us about. And we done totally disannul that and trying to make adjustments contrary to what the Most High already established, His laws.
Just like all the confusion and Sodom and Gomorrah all over again. It's like
Right.
just
So,
doing everything they want to do.
right.
And especially in that regard. It's so weird that now that's, from them being back in the day. I mean, nobody wanted to say that. Now it's like they got pride in that. It's crazy.
Right. They took it and went all the way off down the wrong road with it. It's something as simple as, reading the scriptures and see whatever it's saying, and then go, start right there. And another mindset, is it's with YouTube and all this and trying to get views. I mean, you can't work on no views if you're dealing with the Most High at night. And when he calling you and dealing with you, you can't come on and trying to get no views. You gotta do what the Most High said do. Damn the views. You know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to get views, you're gonna do
Right.
like I just said. You're gonna veer off on all this, man. I'm not, like I said, ain't no Israelites was over here in America. Yeah, you can get 100,000 views if you say yeah, but that's a lie. Just like JC a lie. If I'm trying to get views, I'm gonna deal with your shot. You know what I'm saying? But I know what's up with your shot. I ain't going for the okie doke.
Right.
That?
That goes back to being strong. You ain't
Yeah.
got to run with the majority.
Right.
Mhm.
When you have that understanding, can't nobody come to you and say, oh, you racist, oh, you in a cult and all this. No,
Exactly.
no,
If it's the majority of people doing it, you better check yourself anyway.
exactly.
Anytime you in the majority, you need to check that out.
Right, exactly.
Right. Just like he told Noah to tell them that, warn the people about the flood. So just imagine if he wouldn't have and kept on went off on his own. The flood coming anyway. So you might get 100,000 views, but hell, 2-3 years later, the Most High gonna come and shut the place down. So what was the purpose of sidebarring the situation and trying to get views? Tell him what he said. Tell him what he showed you.
Right.
Simple as that. You know what I'm
And
saying?
like I said, stop putting color on JC. Don't be disrespecting the Lord of hosts like that. Stop putting color on JC.
Right.
That is not the Lord of hosts.
Yeah, that's what they get sidebar. Getting all these hang-ups. Yeah. So with that being said, I got some anybody got the current events? Okay,
I want to make a little comment on something I was coming across this morning that was popping up, through my emails and things like that, through Google and Yahoo and all of that, just saying that, if you make a donation to Ukraine, they will match that. I mean, they really, really is going to the next level on all of this.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was looking at that. I was looking at that from what happened in Egypt. Right. We see how, like I said, when Moses left, they kicked him out because he sided with his lineage. The Israelites that was there in the land of Egypt thought Moses that was through because they had looked at Moses as a Messiah, and all that because of who he was and all that, but not knowing he was coming back. And so Moses came back, and like I said, the last thing they thought when they was looking at the power structure that was in Egypt at the time, they ain't never figured in 1,000 years he's gonna bullshit to Pharaoh out in the ocean and drown him. They ain't never figured that. They ain't never seen that was coming. So looking at that and looking at now, all that they doing, see they got another agenda with this Ukraine thing and the way they blowing them up. But when it's all said and done, after you finish, the people nowadays, because the intellectual level is so high now, they're gonna say, well, damn, you did all this here, but you got a hold over in America, a race of people that went through way more than that you done to them. So they're gonna have to, after they finish all this, they're gonna have to do something with us. Because don't think it ain't gonna come up. It's gonna come up. Because they saying, how you doing all that? You saying all your excuses was that you couldn't do nothing you couldn't give us reparations because you can't figure out how to pay them. But you figured out how to do this with some people that don't have nothing to do with the foundation of America and the building of America. You find all these ways to help them, and not only let all the nations find a way to help them. But you see our condition that was imposed on us. You ain't fixing that. So they being set up. You can believe that they being set up.
Right. I gotta find it. Did y'all hear about I don't know when he said it, but when Vladimir Putin said he was talking about the African countries.
Yeah, right. I brought that up the other day.
Oh, did you? Okay. About was it about when he was saying that they don't
nobody respected the African countries, but he respected.
Yeah, but in this part was he was talking about, did he say why he didn't respect? Well, he was saying on this particular thing, he was saying that the African countries view them as gods, semi-gods or demigods or something.
Okay.
I had to send that to y'all, but yeah, I gotta find that. But it was saying that he was saying that whenever they have money, they'll put their money in France banks and Swiss banks. They don't put their money over there. And whenever somebody gets hurt, when an African gets hurt in another country, they don't do anything to try to help them. They don't even acknowledge it. They don't even try to fight for them. But when a white person gets hurt or something happens in Africa, that's when he was just saying he sees that the Africans think of them as gods. They don't respect themselves. And I think this was a while ago. And they were saying people were criticizing him about it. But now they're seeing what he was saying was true, because they it was a whole bunch. I gotta send it. It was, and I was like, that is so true. Not necessarily, he wasn't saying the African Americans, he was saying the Africans. This is what they're doing. They don't respect, they kind of, like what he was saying was, they kind of worship them. And, if he's seeing that, that's a problem.
Right,
But
exactly.
Yeah.
They've been using that to their advantage all along. It came about when they created JC, and then the image of JC. They see the white man as a god. That's what that is. Yeah, and let me play this video right, because it's pertaining to the same thing.
Soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth.
I was talking to these young men over here earlier. You are all students, right? And you tried to get on the train. And what happened when you tried to get on the train? What were you told?
We were told that they are not allowing the blacks to get on board. So if you're black and then you go there, you're wasting your time. So we didn't even bother ourselves. We just went to take a bus and then headed to this place.
Yeah, because usually there were black people that were already there that were turning around, looking for the borders and other routes, because they stood there for a long time and they were not getting on the train because they were stopping them. So they were warning us not to even try to go there because they will not allow us. That is why we didn't go for the train and try to find another route.
And how does that make you feel to hear things like that?
It feels unfair, actually. It feels unfair, and for us, it just feels like we don't have a choice. We just want to get out, so we kind of try to find another way possible. We don't usually waste more time, because the more time we waste, we don't know what's going to happen. Things keep getting worse every day. and we get a lot of complaints. For example, don't go to this border because you might not go, they might not let you in. Don't go here, so you get confused. You don't even know where to go to get across the border. So we just chose this place just to try, because we have to try something. If you keep listening, don't go to this border, don't take this train route, so we might not just move at all. So it's very frustrating, actually.
Yeah.
So like I was saying before, they blowing these people up and all that, but look, they extreme racists. And so, like I said before, this ain't, when you get over here to America and just look at all the atrocities that they done done to us, that we've been uncovering right even on this channel right here. But you know, it came from somewhere. See what I'm saying? They came from Europe. So the root is over there. Here it is right here. The root over here. Look what they're doing. They, in the midst of everything that's going on with them, they still got this perpetual hatred for the man of color. They blowing them up on the news, but this is what they're doing. In the midst of all that. Okay? We're going to go to one more video on that. Okay? Okay, let me find this. Okay.
Black church, not a joke. Because when we used to get organized on Sundays to go out and desegregate movie theaters and things like that, we do it through the black church. I was no big shakes reverend in the civil rights movement, just a kid. I got involved in desegregated movie theaters.
That's the lies we talked about
You may
earlier.
remember Reverend Moyer in Delaware and Herman Holloway organized voter registration drives, coming out of black churches on Sundays, figuring how we were going to move. In October, I was invited to the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis to receive the Freedom Award. A thing when I sat in black churches in the east side of Wilmington getting ready to...
Take in mind, keep in mind, all these lies, he gonna come back and eat this up.
And by the way, next to two Jewish rabbis, getting ready to go out and desegregate movie theaters in Delaware. I never ever thought in my life I would be worthy of, and I'm still not sure I'm worthy of it.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about
It's very interesting that out of the mouths of politicians, you can find so many lies. It's just that, we don't have the so-called privilege of being in every setting and every place when these politicians walk around and they talk and make promises to different groups and all that there. But here it's interesting that in one breath, Joe Biden claims he was with the civil rights movement marching, and then in another he says he wasn't. Now, doesn't that speak volumes on a person's credibility? Matter of fact, does it even play a bearing in where he stands today? Now, I know men can change, and I have changed over the years and reached maturity and all that there. But sometimes when you watch even today, the promises that he have made, he has not stood by some of his promises, and some of them he has. But the question of it is that every time there are elections about to happen, all of these false promises are made. And we as a people, black folk, when they come out and make these promises, we get all stirred up and we think, oh yeah, they're looking out for our best interest. And then when they get in office, it seems little is done. Now, I am not saying he hasn't done things for the black people. I mean, his cabinet is predominantly of minorities and black people from what I gather. But what about for the race of people, the group, the majority, the whole? These are things that we have been talking about for many years, whether it's reparations and, things that need to be instituted, laws that needs to be changed. When is these so-called bills are going to come and be signed? It's just like the Emmett Till, the no noose hanging law. They still haven't even passed that. It's sad that we have to wait years after year after year before our voice will be heard. Before somebody says, "I'll take that up if I run for president, and I will make sure that this will pass so that you all can get your equal treatment or whatever it might be." But
Okay. Any comments on that?
It's kind of like what we were saying before about the African continent. You got all these resources and all this land and all these people. But when, like with Biden, he's just picking, a few faces, a few tokens to say, just to create the illusion that he's gonna do something.
Right.
But and just like over there, whenever these African leaders get money or they get wealthy, like one of them was over. They had a picture on that thing with one of them. He was married to a white woman, and
Right.
when they get money, they're selfish. They don't care about the other, the masses. So that's kind of what I think about when I see the Black Caucus. They're not really, they're not. They know they're not really gonna be able to do, and they're not even gonna say anything. Like when when he was elected, right away they had that meeting, and they couldn't even really talk, and
Oh
they
yeah.
said nothing. They just sat there and
Right.
let him just kind of chastise them for even suggesting, asking him about when's he gonna do something, when was
Yeah.
he gonna come through on those promises. So that's what I see. It's like they okay. They're gonna be like mice. They're gonna sit there and they're gonna get what whatever they can get individually,
Right.
but they're not gonna risk their necks for anybody, for the masses.
Right. Exactly. They can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Because they're
Right.
being controlled on what to say and do. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
what they say and do is what they're told to say and do to
By
capture our
design.
attention.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And we,
That's
we
right.
just,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and we keep believing that they're going to do something for us, and they're not. They're doing everything for themselves.
Right. Play this right here. Says they say something just to pacify us. Yeah, right. They just say because they can get away with it. But that's like with Christianity, and worshiping JC, you think that just, happened. But they killed off a bunch of folks before they started worshiping Jesus. They came in and killing folks that they didn't go for Christianity. And that's how we got to where we at. So the dead can't speak. So they got to that point when, like I said, by coming in and they enforced Christianity on their own people. And you got to where it's at today. Like I said, look at the movie Roots. Uh, the guy, Kunta Kinte he had a name that linked him back to his heritage. They beat that out of him and told him his name was Toast. And they kept beating him until he gave it up. So, I mean, all the kids after that, they don't know nothing about what he knew before they beat the hell out of him.
The thing though with that is that was a good illustration of, okay, you can play along, you trying to save your family and yourself, but that spirit was still in him. It's not in some black people.
Oh, yeah,
Some
right,
of
right. Yeah, right, exactly.
some of
Exactly.
these people sell out, and they don't have any, like, this is a self-hatred thing, where some people have that spirit in them that, okay, you'll allow them to think that you believe all this stuff. Just, it's kind of like it's just like a chess game. It's like, okay, well,
Right,
if I do this, because they're the majority, they have all the weapons, but that spirit should still be in that person. And so
right,
with Kuta Kinte, that whole narrative, that's why everybody respected the movie, because his family, he did teach his daughter, and she, so it was in that bloodline. He wasn't like the other slaves.
Right, exactly. Right. That's the part. That's the part about what I was saying about what they not understanding that our forefathers understood, like the covenant he got with David. All of David's descendants ain't gonna be righteous. We see that, but the covenant that he got with David is that he gonna always bring a righteous seed out of there, like David. So when if you go to Kuta Kinte, yeah, it's a boy gonna come up or a girl gonna come up like Kuta Kinte. But the thing is, they done took away the knowledge that go with that spirit. So where we at today, where the Most High said he gonna help us, that knowledge is there now. That spirit been coming all the way through that DNA, and now that information is coming, and they being fed with that information. That's why he said he's gonna pour his spirit out on us. At the very end, that's what's happening, and that's how you can gauge when you communicating with somebody, because the person that has that spirit gonna latch on to that information and that truth. They ain't gonna be there 2-3 days and then you don't see them for 6-7 months or whatever. They ain't gonna happen like that. They gonna latch on to it because that information is linking them to the Most High and to everything who they are. They ain't gonna give it up. They can't give it up. That's how it works. Yeah, so that's how that works. And so that's when you understand JC can't do that. He can't, he told David, I'm gonna always bring when they start going off, I'm gonna bring a seed up out of your loins just like you. That's who Hezekiah was. That's who Josiah was. Jehoshaphat. All that's part of the covenant that he promised David. He gonna bring a son out of his loins when Israel start getting slipping away. He gonna bring one just like him to bring them back to him like David brought them back to him. That's the covenant he got. Still going on. Yeah. So like I say, JC can't do that. That annul him. So I got some little need to know information, then we'll move on. This is let me play it right quick.
Slavery is a deplorable notion. One person owning another is just not acceptable in today's world. But history bears out the ugly truth of rich white plantation owners in Southern America owning black Americans and treating them with harsh physical punishments if they went against the owner's wishes.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
However, those television documentaries and references in history books seldom explore the very personal horrors faced by those who were enslaved some 2 centuries ago. Here are some instances where slaves were forced into extreme sexual behaviors and reproducing children to replenish the number of slaves solely for the benefit of their masters. Number 1. Slave women were subjected to many sexual improprieties. Among them were violations by their masters and their sons, forced matings, and arranged marriages. Number 2. Historian E. Franklin Frazier said stockmen were weighed and tested before being put into a room with young women to mate for the purpose of bearing children. Number 3. By the end of the 18th century, the breeding of slaves was a common practice. Laws were changed so the public could view slaves as things instead of people, so the owner could do with them as he wished. Slave owners even began believing that slavery was grounded in the Bible. Number 4. American slaves in 1860 were worth $4 billion, which was far more than the $228 million worth of gold and silver circulating back then. Even the value of southern farmland, $1.92 billion, did not amount to the worth of the slaves. So for the owners, their slaves were worth everything to them. Number 5. The mortality rate among slaves was very high. So their owners would often encourage or force them to have children. Even at the age of 13, females were expected to begin having children to replenish the slave stock. They were expected to have 4 or 5 children by the age of 20. They were often encouraged by their owners to do this with the promise of freedom. Number 6. Female slaves who did not cooperate with their owners to bear children for them would be subjected to many and various punishments, both mental and physical. Number 7. In some instances, the females who bore children for their owners were given gifts, including extra clothing, the withdrawal of any harsh treatment, and sometimes, if their quota was met, freedom. Number 8. Women who did not or could not bear children would not be given any breaks or rewards that were given to mothers, and they would do the same work on the level of men. Number 9. If a woman was deemed infertile, she would sometimes be separated from her family. And owners would sometimes split up married couples and require them to choose new partners. Number 10. Male slaves at the age of 15 were inspected to see if they could breed well. If it was deemed that they could not, their testicles would be castrated. Over the course of 5 years, each young male was expected to get at least 12 female slaves pregnant. According to the slave narratives, a male slave named Bert was said to have fathered over 200 children. Number 11. Plantation owners would often take the pretty female slaves and put them to work in the household. But if the owner showed affections or gave favors to the pretty girl, his wife would subject her to torture. If the pretty slave bore a child, the owner's wife would behead that child. Number 12. To provide entertainment for his friends, the plantation owner would sometimes arrange orgies among the male and female slaves. His friends would be allowed to join in them. Number 13. A slave wife could never be faithful to her husband, as most owners demanded she have affairs with other men. Nor was she allowed to remain pure or virtuous. Number 14. Some male slaves were purchased by their owners solely by the size of their penis. And the black men were often raped by their gay slave owners. This process was called breaking the buck. And finally, number 15. Not all owners abandoned the children they fathered with female slaves. Some would provide them with education and money. And some owners even set free their mistresses and mixed-race children. That's all for today.
Okay, so that should explain everything right there, right? Those 15 facts and comments.
Right.
So like I said, now you see this sexual thing that we got amongst us. This way it was imposed there.
I thought it was sad. They said that the women were not allowed to remain pure. That's just like something, that the Lord I don't know, wanted for us. And then it's like you weren't allowed like other women to, you know, you just, passed around to men, to white men, to other men, not just your husband, just to have a baby. It's crazy.
Ain't they where we at now?
Yeah, but it's yeah, I
They
understand it.
imposed it on them. They
Yeah,
imposed
they
it on them.
imposed it then, but now it's like, I
No,
think,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. They injected, they jumped it off. And it's
yeah.
still going on now. They injected that into our consciousness and into our way of life. And now we do. That's what we do in a
But you
Right.
know
subconscious.
what? I get that too. But I'm just thinking about when I was young. Black women and men had a little more respect. I mean, it was the black women that were the virtuous girls. It was the white women that were doing all of that.
Right,
So it's something that's happened again.
right,
Because yeah, with this, now black women are back to, not being looked at as virtuous and being looked at as sex objects, and men are sleeping with hundreds of women and thinking that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So, but at a time, because I remember growing up, everybody on my street, it was crazy. Everybody on um, my street probably had about 30 families. I would say 28 of those families had mother and father in the home, and the kids were being raised not to. It just was different, and the women were allowed to be virtuous, and we were not doing the things that other races were doing. And
right,
that's kind of why, a lot of the black guys would do what they were doing with other races, because they were saying black women weren't doing it. So now it's like back to the slave mentality. It's like, okay, disrespect these women. They're only good for breeding and having sex, and we're gonna try to populate the world because we are black mendigos or whatever. It's
right,
like that mentality is prevalent again because his fathers are not in the home, and the black family structure is messed up now.
right.
All these young kids having babies, and then the fathers not being around. It's kind of like going back to that, what we just saw.
Right. Right. Yeah, you were saying something, Michelle?
Yes, I was just going to say, I think that it is more popular now because you look at all the women that's in the rap industry that's, giving this, look like this is the thing to do. And, they want to be popular like them and, the whole 9 yards. And you have to look at when they came and got us, they knew who we were.
Exactly.
They knew, our culture.
Mhm.
So you can see in that video, they were determined to, take that away from us, strip
Right,
us of all of that.
right,
And then I think that it was still there as we were growing up, Star, where they tried to, raise us right and keep us separate from certain things. But I think as time uh, moved along, so much has changed.
right,
They have
Yeah.
yeah, allowed our black women to, like I said, be in these rap industries. When you saw, just say for instance, Playboy, that was all white women. Wasn't no black women doing that
Hmm.
because that's
If it
that's
was,
just
it was a very few, and they were in like some kind of little slanderous magazine. But like, I think about the drugs in the 80s too. All
right.
of that in the 70s and 80s, that was set up too.
Exactly.
It's
So they are
destroyed.
continuing to come up with something to keep us away from, being who we actually are, as Hebrew Israelites.
right. That's the thing that I keep on trying to bring out to the light is that what they're not understanding, even with the New Testament, they always talking about the situation room and the think tank. It's a group of Edomites that concocted all that. They're the ones they sitting there. They the ones Esau was raised by Abraham. And so he knows our record. He knows our history and all that. And he's constantly observing us, keeping us close by and studying. He's attacking us just like you would attack in a war situation. We're coming in phases, like you just said about we was in Harlem, even though they had done all these atrocities to us. We still was in Harlem. We was flourishing amongst ourselves. They're not gonna allow that. They come in and first it and attack it. They attacked it with heroin, and then the last thing they came out with this crack. That's what really got us where we at now, because it just knocked down all our power structure and our way of life. Because it not only was you had black women that wouldn't talk to white boys. There was a whole bunch of Negroes they wouldn't even talk to. But when they brought the crack on the scene, you got to look at the man that would even sell crack to his own. You talking to a girl over here, and you selling crack to her mom.
Right.
That's a diabolical ass Negro. So that's what crack brought on the scene. And so here they are with all the money. That's where they started going. That's how we got to where we are today. They're constantly attacking us.
Glamorize that. As long as they had the money, the drug dealers and the rappers.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and it goes back to what the Most High said. It's two baskets of feeds. They all Israelites, but it's two baskets of feeds. That this basket over here is diabolical. And they go for anything. So, like I was saying before, with the information, right now, you got this diabolical basket over here. They're gonna sidebar the conversation to get views. See what I'm saying? They can be on the right track, but when they get to a certain point, they looking at the money and whatever, get that, rather than to hold on to the truth of what the Most High says. And the same thing with the crack. They're not likely to sell crack to your brother or your cousin and all that, but the money there. So they're gonna vow out to get the money and do some more wicked ass shit like that. Excuse my expression, but that's where it's coming from. And all that has to be in the play in these last days. When you say you woke, you got to be looking at all that. You got to be able to engage in all that, because you don't understand that. Like I just showed with ASAP. ASAP, he can charge the Most High because he got to understand it. He told him, you the one got the covenant. Respect the covenant. Remember the covenant. You can't talk to him in that way if you don't understand what's going on.
Right.
David said the same thing. Let me read that right quick. David did the same thing. And like I said, I don't see no Negroes doing that today because they don't have that understanding. So it says, Second Samuel, right quick. Chapter 7. So Nathan came and brought David in to talk to the Lord. And David came in and started talking to him. We're going to pick it up in 24. It says, for thou hast confirmed to thy people Israel, he talking to the Lord of hosts, to be a people unto thee forever. And thou, Lord, has become their God. See that? Lord of hosts, this angel, has become their God. They're ill. And now, O Lord God, the words that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever. See that? You don't need no Messiah to come. We already got one right here. Forever. And do as thou hast said. And let thy name be magnified forever. Saying the Lord of hosts. See that? Michael is the God over Israel. And let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. Then 27. For thou, O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, hath revealed unto thy servant, saying, I will build thee a house. Therefore have thy servant found in his heart. See that? To pray this prayer unto thee. So now he know who to pray to. See that? He know that.
Right.
Come on. Same thing ASAP just said. He know that you the one, you the redeemer. You over Israel. You responsible for Israel's sins and all that. So, and you the one got the covenant. So remember the covenant. Come on. And then some. So with that being said, I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody got any thing they want to talk about or share? Put it out there on YouTube. Okay.
My thing, I guess, it's just but like we just got to talking about, you know, anytime you're in the majority, it's an issue. It's something going on with that you have to look at. But so many people waking up, so many channels having, but you know, Old Testament, non-Messianic Israelites uh, that clearly understand what the Lord was saying in the Old Testament, really the only testament of the Bible.
Right.
Um, it just baffles me that the Messianic Israelites they don't see it, even
Right.
if they didn't know who the Lord of hosts was yet. Just to be still following the same doctrine and the same ideology that somebody else, some man was put on the cross and he walked through and let all this stuff happen and said turn it. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense when you compare the two. If you really studying like they are studying, like you said, they know a lot about what happens and back in those times, just in the history of the different nations back then, and to
Right.
still believe. So I think it's a fear, like we said before, it's a fear to let that go because they're thinking, well, at least if I believe in this, if I'm wrong, I don't know, I don't understand. I just have a hard time understand how they can negate you know, where the Lord has said over and over, I am one, none beside me, I'm the Redeemer. David, is the key. It's just hard for me to reconcile how they can,
Right.
justify it. But they try. They
Right.
try.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, is getting the echo from when I'm talking?
No.
What about the
It's,
video?
it, it may be my phone. I don't hear echo when y'all talk.
Yeah, is it echoing on the videos?
Yeah, it echoes on the videos, but not when you're talking.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let me yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Somebody was reminding me that got an echo. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna play this right here. Then we go. Then I'm gonna read out of Deuteronomy. This is a topic for discussion. This like I said, I'm trying to you know deal with these dots. I'm trying to connect. It's another one right here tied to the like I said, it's live. One live to another one, but we're gonna connect them. So this is can you see that?
Yes, we can see.
So this is Helena of Troy. I don't know if anybody know about that, but this when the Trojans and the Spartans were fighting, they fighting over this woman right here. Because of
Yes.
the right. So see how she look? See, red head, blue eyes. See that? So like I said, that's some need to know information because they got it like you don't we're not when you start to find out all this stuff tied back to what I said before. It's a Esau and Esau married these red-headed giants on Mount Seir. So that's him. And they showing you all through everything you do. They showing you the red heads all through the whole thing. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. It'll probably be echoing.
Zeus, you see, had many children with many women, and Helen became one of these offspring.
So the thing about it too is this: Zeus is Zephno. Zephno is one of Esau's sons. He's a mighty man. If you go in Jasher, Zeus was a mighty man. He left from Joseph had him in bondage the whole time he was alive. When Joseph passed, he was released and he went to Africa and he was these Africans took him in because he was a mighty man, a warrior. Then he ended up going to Chechnya and he started ruling over the people on in the Greek islands and all that. And they made him into a god. That's who Zeus is. So anyway,
So she was a demigod, half a god, half human, and her story is an ancient version of a damsel in distress. Two Athenians, Theseus and Pirithous, thought that since they were the sons of gods, that they should have divine wives. So they pledged together to help each
That's
other.
why they fighting over. They fighting over because of lineage. She was out there. She was from those giants. So go to Cleopatra. The lie they didn't told you about her that she was a African queen. Cleopatra was a redhead. She's daddy was she's out of the lineage of Bartholomew. They was Edomites. The 29th dynasty was Edomites. There wasn't no black woman, no queen, black queen. She's white. She had resembled this woman right here.
Abduct two daughters. One was the daughter of Zeus, Helen, for Theseus, and the other was the wife of Hades.
Right.
Long story short.
So like I said before, you know, you want to watch this. It's Helena of Troy. Was this face launch? We'll say, was this the face that launched 1,000 years war with the Trojans and the whatever? But you come to find out once the truth started coming out, you can see it's a lineage. We came out of the garden with two different lineages. The serpent slept with Eve, got Cain, Japhet. That's Cain's lineage. And then you had Adam's lineage. Then these people right here married into these red-headed giants, and then they merged with Cain's lineage. That's what we're dealing with. And people trying to kind of figure out what was so, why was the slave trade so horrendous? Because of these folks. They diabolical. Why are we in the predicament we're in now and being treated the way we are? These people, right here. Two different lineages, and where they got you throwed off at when they brought JC on the scene and said one blood. We all come from the same place, and that's a lie. And then you got Negroes trying to defend that. Okay? So that's what it is. Any comments? Okay. Everybody good on that?
So Cleopatra was not, but what about Nefertiti? It's certain ones that they kind of lump them all together.
Well, you have to look at that is it was 29 dynasties in Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last one was Alexander came and conquered the whole world. And then when Alexander died, he split his kingdom up. He owned Egypt too. He conquered all that. So when he died, he split up his kingdom in 4 parts. Bartholomew, a redhead, he an Edomite, he went into Egypt. He ruled Egypt. The last dynasty is the Ptolemaic dynasty. Them all white folks, but they dressing up and they wearing the Egyptian attire, but they white folks.
I got it.
A lot of people don't understand that. That's how that's why they didn't cover it over. You know, you don't understand. Back to what I said about the scriptures. You don't understand certain things in the scriptures. You read, you get a whole other interpretation of what's going on. So when Queen Elizabeth, said that she ascended from the pharaohs in Egypt and from the David's lineage, that's what she's talking about. Neither one of them, they're not Egyptians. That 29th dynasty ain't Egyptians, and the Herod lineage ain't no Israelite. They already had folks, Edomites. And that's why I'm showing that in 143, the Israelites, black folks left Israel in 143 BC. Those Edomites took over. They was in there from 143 BC to 70 AD. They was the one was ran out in 70 AD. That's why they went into Europe, back to where they people from. And the Israelites had been left. That's the major deception.
Right. That's it. I remember you talking about it before. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So the last dynasty is when the others. So the original ones that we hear about, but Cleopatra was from one of the later dynasties you're saying?
Right, the last dynasty.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense now.
Right. And that's what's going on with, like I said, with how Cleopatra got killed and Mark Antony, all of them got killed because of Julius Caesar he had a baby for Cleopatra, but he messing with Cleopatra because she just like he is. She a white person. You know what I'm saying? They from the same lineage. But so But the thing was those Greeks got ticked off because they said, he over there, you all over there, you got a wife. Cleopatra had a wife, a Greek wife. And then when he got to Egypt, he just flipped out on Cleopatra. So the Greek people and their culture, they said, no, we ain't going for this. You ain't gonna bring her over here and make her queen all over us and all that. And you already got a Greek wife. But people ain't understanding all that because they don't understand what's going on. They're thinking these black folks, they got you thinking they all black folks and all that, but it ain't. That's where the drama coming in at. So yeah, even the Library of Alexandria, all that, them white folks, and they over there looking at our records. That's how you get the New Testament. That's how you get the King James Bible and all that. They over there looking at our records and flipping them and writing their own books based off information they got from our books. That's what was going on in Alexandria, Egypt. That's after the Ptolemaic dynasty started. White folks was dealing with our records. That's how everything we dealing with now comes from that. The truth was thrown down to the ground, like the Most High said. Yeah. So with that being said, anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna read. I said I was gonna read out of Deuteronomy. I'm gonna read out of Deuteronomy tonight too. I was looking at that, and there's some stuff in there that need to be talked about. So I'm gonna start it. So I'm gonna start a chapter. Let me see where I'm at. Chapter 10, Deuteronomy. So this is you picking it up with the tables. The second time he did the 10 commandments on the tablets. So it says in Deuteronomy chapter 10, at that time the Lord said unto me, hew thee 2 tables of stone, like unto the first, and come up unto me in the mount, and make the ark, and make thee an ark of wood, and I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and I went up into the mount, having 2 tables in my hand. And he wrote on the tables, according to the first writings, the 10 commandments which the Lord spake unto you in the mount, out of the midst of the fire, in the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them unto me, and I turned myself, and I came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be, as the Lord commanded me. So let me shine a light on something right quick. So see, he on the mountain. I told you the angels on mountains, right? It ain't Michael ain't the only one on a mountain. You got other angels on mountains that's over different regions that was given to them. But they dwelling on these mountains. So the people, the heathen, going up on these mountains, worshiping. That's how you get to high places. Israel learned that from the Canaanites when they came into the land. But the point I want to make, Moses, if you go back to Exodus chapter 2, right? Exodus chapter 3. I want to show you something right quick, then I'm going to start back reading. So I'm in chapter 3, verse 1. Now, Moses showing you that who the Lord is, right? That's over Israel, the El. So it says, now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and he came to a mountain. See that? He came to a mountain. That's what Moses just went up on a mountain, same mountain. So to the mountain of God, even in Horeb. I want to show you something. And the angel, see that? The angel of the Lord appeared unto him. It's an angel on the mountain. Ain't Yahweh ain't on the mountain. So he says, and the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. And look, and behold, the bush burned with fire, but the bush was not consumed. So Moses on his mountain, right? He on the mountain, and it tells you right here. I didn't write it. There's an angel there, right? So now let's go to Ezekiel right quick. This right here, devastating. So I'm in Ezekiel. Chapter 4. I'm trying to get it. Give me a minute. I'm in Ezekiel. Hold up. I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1. I mean, not chapter 4, chapter 1. So chapter 1, verse 4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud. See that? So it's a cloud because Yahweh there. But look who in the cloud. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and the brightness was about it, and out of the midst of the fire, out of the midst thereof, the color of amber, out of the midst thereof, fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. So that's Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and Phinehas, and Yahweh in there. So when in Exodus chapter 3, ain't no cloud there because Yahweh ain't there, but Michael there. So Moses went up on, and the angel was there. So now let's go back to where I was at. We're gonna make this plain. So now I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 10. So now it said Moses talking, and I wrote on the tablets, verse 4, according to the first writings, the 10 commandments which the Lord spake unto me in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly of the Lord. And I turned myself and came down from the mount. See that? There's a cloud on that now, because Yahweh there. But when Moses was there, Michael was the only one there. Come on. So then it says, and I put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be as the Lord commanded me. And the children of Israel took their journey from the Basrath of the children of Jacob. I can't say these words. Mazra, and there Aaron died, and there he was buried. And Eleazar's son ministered to the priest office in his stead. From thence they journeyed to Gibeah, and from Gibeah to Jabot, and the land of the rivers of the waters. And at that time, the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord and minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day, wherewith Levi had no part, no inheritance with his brethren, and the Lord said, the Lord is his inheritance, according to all as the Lord God had promised him. And I stayed in the mount. See that? This Moses. I stayed in the mount according to the first time, 40 days and 40 nights. And the Lord hearkened unto me at that time also, and the Lord would not destroy thee. And the Lord said unto me, arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land which I swore unto their father to give unto them. So 12. And now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee? So here we go right here. Like I said, this the foundation, and you can't veer from this. So he says, now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear, I told you that earlier, there ain't no fear now, because we done digress from all this garbage and lies we done got. So it says, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good. So he said to command thee this day. So the day when they done this right here was when the foundation was laid. Right? Say, behold, the heavens and the heavens of heaven is Lord, thy God, and the earth also with all that therein. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them and to choose their seed after them, even you above all people as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. Yeah, it's our problem right here. They ain't addressing that. He said, circumcise your foreskin of your heart. That means you flexible. If somebody drop a golden nugget on you, you don't get mad. You know what I'm saying? So he says, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be not stiff-necked. For the Lord your God is God of gods, and the Lord of lords, and a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not the person, nor taketh reward. See that? Take a reward. YouTube, getting 1,000 views, you get some reward in there. See that? So he says, taketh a reward. He doeth execute judgment of the fearless and the widow, and loveth the stranger, and giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy God, that he done for thee these great and terrible things which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord thy God hath made thee as the stars of heaven, as a multitude. So, like I said, we got away from this. It's right here, plain what he said for us to do, and we ain't doing that. We all off on some. We're going along with new innovations and new technology and all that, and digress from this. When it's plain and simple. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna read. I just read that part right there. I'm gonna leave it right there, and I'll pick up with tonight, Deuteronomy 11 and 12, because there's a lot of information in that. So, with that being said, anybody got anything they want to shine a light on or whatever before we go? We talk about? Yeah, I got some right here. Okay. Let me see. We'll close out.
I got loyalty, it's royalty inside my DNA, but it's slavery, supremacy inside my DNA. I got sweet teas, chicken box inside my DNA, cause it's carry out that rotten out and fry my DNA. Went to school and learned from teachers to deny my DNA, like my cells is filled with curses compacted my DNA, or like them cells filled with colors compacted by DEA. Seems like the war on drugs only fought with my DNA, so my block becomes a mural painted with my DNA. Got blood brothers and blood brothers, they both in my DNA. I hug them before they're goners or Eric Garners, they choke in my DNA. They laugh when my niggas die, they joke on our DNA. Like it's something funny seeing the light leave the eyes of the innocent. Like the devil is speaking pain in our existence. We got drama DNA. So I pin that sentence, vengeance got that karma DNA. Try to shape the world around me and then break the chains that bound me. But when racism surrounds me and hatred tries to unround me, I want to zap, but no, I'm black, so I'll just end up in the county. Yep. School to prison pipeline DNA. In this land of privilege, people trying to fight my DNA. They don't like my DNA, but they want my skin and power, trying to bite my DNA. But you ain't been through what I've been through and had devils try to lynch you, rip you, strip you, bleed tissue. You ain't got no struggle in you. No. You got safety DNA. You got walk inside a church and see your faces DNA. I got walk inside a church and might not make it DNA. Shots pop nonstop, they blasted my DNA, but there's healing in my heel. It's got Lazarus DNA. Jealous of the jewels and genes that lack in their DNA, so they experiment. Cause Henrietta lacks in my DNA. They must not like their makeup. It's pork in their DNA. From running fields, that's why sports in my DNA. Pray Jehovah that I keep forgiveness in my DNA. Nat Turners and burners, roomy triggers in my DNA. So don't you say that N-word, white boy, you'll trigger my DNA. Stupid vultures stealing culture, it's fraud in your DNA, but you keep hating and keep taking cause God in my DNA.
Okay.
Wow.
Shalom. I'm gonna see everybody tonight at 6 o'clock for close out the Sabbath. I hope somebody got something out of this. Shalom.
No.
Shalom.
Okay.